Hi guys, it's Granny. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So I wanted to touch base with you about the Kouri Richins case. There's a little bit now going on again. If you remember, Kouri Richins was the 33-year-old woman who has been accused of unaliving her husband, Eric Richins, by poison. They had 3 little kids. And after right around a year, she wrote a children's book about grief, and she used her husband's likeness, her children's names and likeness in the book. A lot going on there. They have a witness that says that she bought the fentanyl that actually poisoned her husband. So a lot going on there. But I wanted to talk today specifically about the lawsuits that are going on. So she found out after she unalived her husband, allegedly unalived her husband, that he had switched things over and she was not beneficiary. He had created a trust and left it to his sister. His sister had instructions about what to do and giving it to her sons. So Kouri was not the beneficiary to be able to distribute to the boys. His sister was. And there was talk from before about he had thought she had tried to poison him, things like that. So obviously he had suspected her, okay, of some things. So we're going to go to Court TV. They have a little clip. I think it's 9 minutes long or something. Excuse me. And we're going to listen to a clip from part of his sister, one of his sisters, where she was speaking at the bail hearing for Kouri. Okay, so let's go ahead and go there.
Did they catch a glimpse of their father taking his last breath? It's torture to think of. Why did Eric lose his life? Why did the boys lose their father? Was it because of Kouri's greed and desire to get life insurance and other assets? If so, that is abhorrent. How could anyone value life, human life, so cheaply? I cannot comprehend it. I'm overflowing with grief and pain at the thought that Eric meant so little to her. If Eric had died because of an illness, he would have been cared for. He could have looked after him and been with him. If he had died because of an accident, people would have tried to help. There would have been kindness. But there's no comfort to be had here. There's no consoling thought in the way Eric died. In his last moments, after being intentionally poisoned, he was faced with betrayal and terror. The thought of it is unbearable. I am haunted by the horror of it. This last year has been a living hell for our family. We have watched as Kouri has paraded around portraying herself as being widow and victim while trying to profit from the death of my brother. Both by trying to profit from a book about his death and trying to get life insurance and assets that should go exactly where Eric wanted them to his boys.
So this is the story of Kouri and Eric Richins. Eric is dead. He died from fentanyl poisoning. Prosecutors say it was his wife who got the drugs and then laced his drink with it and killed him, murdered him for money, all about money. So I want to give you a little background about this couple. Now, he was very successful, had a stone masonry company with a partner and did really well. When he met her, she was working at Home Depot. Once they got married, they started a family. She started a business. She wanted to get into real estate, flipping houses, you know, like they do on HGTV, and was going to try to, you know, make her mark and in that. But apparently, business wasn't great, according to prosecutors, and he was no longer going to prop up her business with his money, and he allegedly caught her trying to get her hands on some of his money. And what he did is he created a trust and suspected his wife was perhaps trying to take his life and left everything to his sister. And that was the sister that you heard coming into the segment at the bond hearing for her. So there's a lawsuit by her now because she's trying to get her hands on all of the money that was left and the assets that were left after Eric died. But she's in charge of the estate. So there's this big battle going on. And now, after she sued the estate has now counterclaimed and sued her. Take a look, some of the allegations here. The Richins estate versus Kouri Richins. They allege that starting as early as 2016 and perhaps earlier, Kouri began having serious financial troubles. Kouri was taking money from Eric's bank accounts and running up debts on credit cards in Eric's name and without Eric's knowledge. As of February of 2022, Kouri or her business owed at least $1.8 million to hard money lenders, and in the days prior to Eric's death, she had at least 7 phone calls with one or more of those lenders. Eric confronted Kouri about the stolen money, and Kouri admitted she had taken the money. So now there's these cross claims going back and forth, but meanwhile, we've got a murder case. So how does all of this play into that? Because Kouri Richins, on the one hand, saying, hey, I'm entitled to this money. I'm entitled to the estate. And her sister saying, no, you don't get that. And by the way, you owe the estate money because you were stealing money from him when he was alive. Let's bring back in the think tank. Daryl Cohen, Molly Palmer.
Okay, so before we get to his think tank, because they bring up some good points, so I am going to play that for you guys. But so Kouri first filed against his estate, saying that she's entitled to all of this. But then his sister filed back on behalf of the estate, and she is talking about everything. You know how Kouri used his likeness and his death as a result to get money. Used his children's likenesses, and names to get money. She also had taken out several life insurance policies and allegedly forged Eric's name on those policies without his knowledge. She also had taken out life insurance policies on the boys that Eric was not aware of. That sends up a huge red flag to me. I don't know about that, you guys, but when I hear that she allegedly added extra life insurance, because it sounds like, to me, it really sounds like Eric was very financially stable and he was financially intelligent. That he had, a good business, a good successful business, and he knew what was going on, and even enough to know that she had stolen money from him. Okay, so sounds like he was very intelligent. He would have known how much life insurance he needed, right? He set up this trust and everything. He would have known what he needed. But she went behind his back and got more life insurance. And then took life insurance out for each of the boys. Now, if she's accused of allegedly poisoning Eric with fentanyl. If she truly did this, what was her plan with the boys, is my question. Because you know what I'm saying? It's scary to me. It really scares me because once a person does something like this, there's more to follow usually, unless or until they get caught. So the fact that it just made me cringe to hear that she had taken life insurance policies out on the boys. Maybe I'm making too much of it. I hope I am. But so the trust is going at her for all kinds of things. I mean, for unaliving him, and I mean they can go back as far as, I mean, go forward as far as how much Eric would have earned, until he retired, or how much he would have been worth for his entire life. They can go back that far. Now they started with 13 million, but they can go as high as they need to. Because when you're talking about somebody's life, 13 million doesn't even begin to cover that, right? It doesn't. It doesn't begin to cover the loss of those boys' dad, right? Loss of the brother, the son, the friend, the father, the business owner, So 13 million is nothing when you think about those things. But it really makes you wonder, now I know that, they're not going to allow everything in. Obviously, they're not going to. But I think a lot will be allowed into court. And you have to wonder if these civil trials will be held before or after the M trial. But let's go ahead and listen to the think tank.
Josh Schiffer with us. Josh, you look like you want a piece of this one. This is horrific, right?
I've been warning people about the dangers of marriage for years. It is absolutely impossible to be a victim of a spousal murder if you remain dedicated and single. No, all kidding aside, this is a nightmare. This is betrayal upon betrayal upon betrayal, but in a weird way, it helps her criminal defense because this civil case muddies the water and shows how this family, this wasn't the first conflict between Sis and Kouri. You're going to be able to mine, as a successful defense attorney, a story of a family.
So wait, you're saying
conflict.
that this fight between the sister and the estate and Kouri is going to somehow help her? The sister is an important witness in the case, by the way.
It feeds into a defense.
I mean, the sister is going to be a witness for the state. And so, yes, you can certainly go down this line of cross-examination and show how she was, she had hatred for Kouri or something along those lines. But personally, I don't like the optics. If my client is on trial for murder, I would not like any collateral evidence of her suing her late husband's estate trying to get some portion of the money. I think that is basically a motive.
Well, should the jury hear about all this? Will they?
I think they're going to hear a lot of it, that some of it may be excluded, but the optics are bad. And where did he get the fentanyl? Did he go buy it? Was he a drug addict? Did he do this on his own? How did his wife get him the fentanyl? And that's something the prosecution's going to have to show.
Well, they've got the witness, but not the greatest witness, someone that worked for Kouri who has other legal issues is going to be the one saying, yeah, she asked me for the fentanyl and I got it. They're going to allege that perhaps it was laced in a Moscow mule that she fixed for him.
Stay away from Putin. Stay away from Putin.
Yeah. So
The issue is that it's a classic American story, but you can spin her position so many different ways. And by adding this, I totally agree with what
now, when you
Molly's
say
talking
spin,
about.
does that mean like mislead the jury?
No, it means
just a little spin.
tell a version of the story. If you have a complaint about spin, let's go talk to all your government buddies in the prosecutor's office. They're the ones out there putting news stories out in order to set a narrative before the defense even has a chance to get their act together. That's spin. That's manipulation. What we've got is a woman who one day found herself without a husband due to his death by some sort of poisoning, and she's involved as the accused. And now she has to protect herself, her own best interests, and she's trying her best. There's a lot of hay that can be grown on their relationship dynamic in the family, the unequal finances, the hard money loans. There's a lot to talk about. Every time you talk, you're adding the opportunity for reasonable doubt to grow.
I disagree. I think that you've got a motive. How much money from her husband did she steal? How much money was she trying to steal? And oops, you got caught. I didn't mean to get caught. Honey, you got to go. You want a drink? Call Putin.
Okay, Daryl. Here's the thing. I think this is one of those cases where you have to be very careful in jury selection, right? We're Salt Lake City. Could you find jurors that are not going to be so put off by the fact that she is litigating the estate while at the same time she's accused of murder? You might be able to put together a panel of 12 who say, look, in the face of such tragedy, we still have to deal with the finances. And then you spin it, as Josh referenced, and you focus on the other evidence and the fact that potentially he did poison himself and there's not enough evidence as to the actual murder and all of that. But the finances are certainly going to have to be dealt with in an artful way. And some of that...
it's central to the entire case, because the motive here, the alleged motive, is the money, that she needed the money, and it was the only way she was going to get it, is by killing him. And now she doesn't have the money, and she files the lawsuit. So it's almost like the lawsuit is part of the motive.
Well, it was the motive that they decided at the beginning. Remember, there can be new motives brought up. For all we know, they're going to claim some sort of violent confrontation over the theft, the catching her. There's a whole story that can be written there that can then point an investigation in a completely other direction.
All toward her.
And the bottom line, though, you believe the jury will hear about this little battle here and these allegations going back and forth.
Yeah, part of it, right.
It's intertwined. They have no choice. It's
And we'll
part of the
continue to
case.
track it, obviously.
Okay. So, interesting. You know, a lot of differing opinions there. The thing that, you know, they brought up a good point about finding a jury that's going to understand why she's suing her husband's estate. At the same time, she's on trial for unaliving him. That's not a good look, right? So there's, I don't know, there's things to look at here. Obviously, I mean, this is something older than time. Money. You know, money is the reason for many crimes. And, oh my God. Oh, gosh. I didn't sleep well last night. It's all of a sudden hitting me. But, yeah, money is, you know, well, we could say the root of all evil, couldn't we? We could say that money is a motivator. For the life of me, I do not understand how somebody could unalive another person for money. But, you know, there are all kinds of people out there, aren't there? We're seeing so many different cases for so many different reasons of people hurting other people, and finding out money is a lot of the cause for that. So what do you guys think? You know, do you think that Kouri is innocent or guilty? Have you made up your mind yet? I'm waiting for the trial. I'm waiting for the facts to come out. You know, the witness that supplied the fentanyl has got kind of a sketchy past from what I've heard. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Okay. And, you know, did they find the fentanyl in her home? You know, I want to know the facts. I want to know what's what before I make my decision as to whether she's innocent or guilty. I would hate to think that. But then on the flip side, I think about those life insurance policies, and I told her my thoughts on that. And, you know, you look at one side and then you look at the other and you're like, you know, scales of justice, you know, which way is it going to lean? And so let me know what your thoughts are on this case, what you think. Do you think the civil case for money, the litigation that she's trying to, you know, sue the estate, her husband's estate, for the money, is, you know, a good move for her? Or if you think it won't matter, let me know. Let me know your thoughts. And hey, you guys, don't forget to please like and subscribe. I'm wanting to grow this channel. It's been growing really great this past week. But I know we can do better than what we're doing. So, you know, share it, share the video with your friends, family, timelines, whatever you need to do to help us grow. All right, thanks so much, guys. I hope you have an awesome night. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at grannyscrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.